Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special Geekverse review. I am the bad Trash
The
Snail.
bad. I'll be the skinny skinny Kirklin Patzer.
The skinny Kirklin Patzer?
Yeah, like
Because
skinny
Pete.
Pete.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. I forgot about him for a second, so I was like, where is this going? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't guessed by our nicknames, like I couldn't because I'm an idiot, and it's Saturday, we're tired when we're recording this. Kirkland's just back to being fully healthy.
Back off the mend.
Yeah. We're reviewing El Camino. This is what we're here to talk about. The only things I'll plug is we dropped a Watchmen and Zombieland retro this week, so go check that out. A new Clone Wars retro. Go to the Facebook and Twitter, specifically Facebook, because we'll be announcing a bunch of stuff for Gauntlet. But if you haven't heard, the main tournament this year with 6 people is going to be for the Geek vs. Gauntlet Championship. First time ever since we debuted. So
It's crazy.
there's a chance, Kirkland, because we won't talk about the sports title because there's also a sports title match, you, me versus Taylor. But we'll put that aside. You have a sports title. I have a team title. There's a chance that one of us might be double belted come November 2nd.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
It's always a nice image to have those two belts on the shoulders.
There's also a chance, if things go my way, I could be triple belted.
Oh, I don't think that's gonna
Because Saris dropped out of the stream.
Oh, really?
So there's no team title match anymore. So
Uh-oh.
there's a chance. There's a chance.
Jeez.
It's not going to happen. I'm never going to win the tournament. I will learn to fly before I win the tournament. It's just not in my luck. And then we did a joke review. Check that out. Next week, I think there'll be a newscast, and soon there'll be what?
I was gonna say Zombieland 2 review.
Right, next week is Online 2. Yeah,
Yep.
the newscast, and then you guys are going to be reviewing that. And then in the next 2 weeks, there will be the episode 9 trailer, the final one dropping. So we'll
Crazy.
definitely be doing that. So anything to say before we get in this? Happy Thanksgiving to the Canadians if you're
Yes.
listening to this.
Shouts out to the Canadians.
The Americans are like, what?
Turkey Day. Happy Turkey Day.
Yeah, long weekend. Hope you're not working it. So we're going to talk about El Camino. Now, as usual, we're going to do a non-spoilers review, and then we'll let you know when we get into spoilers. Kirkland, we'll start with you because you're the only person that's here. We actually don't know how each other's feel, but first for the fans, because I don't think we've talked about too much, but what do you just feel about Breaking Bad, and then transition your review? Give a little, because we didn't have time to do a Breaking Bad retrospective,
Yeah.
Didn't-
That would have taken a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Breaking Bad. I watched it a few years ago when it was. I don't even think it was on Netflix at the time, but
Yeah.
I found it some through some dark corridor.
This
method.
isn't Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, but no, I absolutely fell in love with the show from like just watching the pilot. It just had such a different take on what I was kind of expecting. I don't know, especially since I had only seen Bryan Cranston in like Malcolm in the Middle at the time, so it was very different. Like seeing him as a bad guy and just kicking ass, and just the progression of that character was just such a crazy and wild journey to follow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just fell in love with the show. I just binged that really hard when I was living in Alberta. I was not much to do, and so I just watched that every day after class. And I was a little sad, a little void in my heart when it was over. So when this got announced, I thought it was just super exciting because I guess this is spoilers for Breaking Bad. Final warning.
Yeah, I'll say that. We'll give spoilers for the show, but not the movie. We'll wait until the spoilers
Yeah.
section. But yeah, I always say this. If you're watching an El Camino, I would say quickly, you could watch this if you've never seen Breaking Bad, but I don't think it's nearly as entertaining.
Well, they kind of give a recap before the movie too, so that'll spoil a lot of what happens.
Yeah.
And it was, I kind of like that it was in there because I haven't, unlike you, I haven't watched Breaking Bad leading up to this, so there were some things I kind of forgot. But so that was nice to have. But just getting back to El Camino, when the trailer, was it just announced with the trailer, or was it announced like the title?
I think because there was rumors for a while they're doing the secret Breaking Bad movie, and why do I feel? No, I'm definitely wrong because I'm like, was it the Super Bowl? But no, that's kind of. But I thought it was some big event they dropped it with. I know they dropped the trailer with the Emmys, but I think they just put out. I think just one morning they tweeted out. Netflix tweeted out that like scene of Skinny Pete when he's just like, I don't know what's happening to him. So
Yeah,
I think
so
they
it's
just
kind of a teaser.
Yeah, kind of like ghost dropped it, and that was coming like this fall.
Yeah.
You know?
So that announcement was insane. Whenever that happened, and I just thought it was really cool following Jesse because the one thing that was kind of left unanswered was just what's going on with Jesse because he just drives out of that compound just absolutely messed up. He'd been in like captivity for just who knows how long. I don't know. I can't remember. Do they specify?
I think at least months.
Yeah,
I
so
think there's
it's pretty
potentially
crazy.
up to 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure some timeline junkies. See in the comments, let us know because I have no full-on idea. But
yeah. So yeah, I just thought it was a cool like concept, kind of following and then probably concluding his story. And so I was just overall really excited and just taking me back into that Breaking Bad world. I feel like, I don't know, like while watching this movie, it's definitely more wrapped around Jesse, obviously. And I I felt like I absolutely loved that character while I was watching Breaking Bad, but like not having like the back and forth between him and Walter, I was kind of, I don't know, it was
Missing
kind of
something.
yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
missing something there. There's definitely parts of the show where it's more of just like a Jesse like oriented episode, or it's
Mhm.
more of just him and his posse, or him and
Yeah.
I forget her name
That,
now.
Jane.
Jane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Badger, that whole crew.
Yeah. So I I mean they have that in there, but just not seeing like Walter and what's going on in his world is kind of weird for me. So just overalls for the movie, I liked it. I thought it was a good enough, just like rounding out Jesse's tale, just tying up some loose ends, some things that we didn't really, I don't know, conclude in the show. Definitely felt like not like I was watching Breaking Bad for the first little part. It felt like just a Netflix movie, so I was kind of thrown off on that.
Well, even to me, I was talking about this with Emily. Just like technically, the filming of it and the picture is a lot better because they're using film and they actually use like some of the same technology they use to film The Revenant. But the problem is Breaking Bad's a TV show and it has like
Yeah.
TV show quality
Yeah.
camera. So then when you jump over to the movie, it just feels like even the first frame feels kind of weird because you're like, this just like
Yeah.
aesthetically looks different than Breaking
Yeah.
Bad, and I get it because it's like a movie now. But it just that took me a little while just to like switch into it.
Yeah,
you know?
no, exactly. I don't know. It was weird. I wasn't expecting to have that feeling of like this just doesn't feel like I'm watching Breaking Bad. It just felt like a Netflix movie. I'm not saying it's like knocking it too hard, but it was just for what I was expecting to going into and what I got. It took a little bit of adjusting. I think I got just more used to it and I started digging it more probably like halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I would agree that I think the second half's better than the first.
Yeah.
half.
Yeah, because the one thing that I had or heard about your opinion for the movie, I saw you tweet like half an hour in, not exactly what I was hoping. I'm like,
Yeah.
we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
But so I kind of had like similar feelings. It's a 2-hour movie, right?
yeah, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the first hour or so, I don't know, just not fully invested, but it kind of took a turn.
I think we won't spoil it, but there's like
Yeah.
I think there's a big reason, in my opinion, why there's not a reason not to be invested. I feel like there's just a few detours in a movie we didn't need to take,
Yeah.
Especially when it is just 2 hours. It's just kind of, I felt sometimes it's spinning its wheels. Like, okay, why are we here? I don't want to reveal what happened because it involves some plot points, but it's just like, I felt like this is stuff we kind of already knew,
Yeah.
or we'll get into spoilers, but I think the first half is a lot of that.
Yeah,
just
no,
to-
I agree totally
Yeah.
with you. Let's see. So, I mean,
honestly, I imagine you would recommend it to Breaking Bad fans.
that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say. I was talking to my one buddy about it. He hadn't seen it, and I said if you're a fan of Breaking Bad, I definitely think you should watch it because it is a good it's a good enough conclusion. I wouldn't say
it's
it's
a
like
nice epilogue.
yeah to Jesse's story, rounding out like kind of what happened to him because he was just driving away at the end of Breaking Bad, and then the roll credits, right? We never get to see him again, so it was kind of nice that they explained that a bit. I actually never finished Better Call Saul. I started watching it. Would you say it's
Neither.
definitely more? Oh no, you didn't.
We're gonna start because we've watched all Breaking Bad, and then Emily caught up. I stopped at season 3, and not because I disliked it, just because life took a hold, and I find that shows that are weekly, I just forget about them. Now that shows like how well Netflix has already trained us.
Yeah.
You know, like Disney Plus is different because it's like we'll be doing reviews for Mandalorian, but with Better Call Saul, I was like, oh, I missed an episode, I'll get to it. And then you've missed 4 weeks, and you're like, I'll just wait till the season, and
Yeah.
then a whole season's gone by. Like, I watched the premiere, and that's it. But I'm going to watch it all now after this because I got that. I'm kind of like you. I didn't like love this movie, but I kind of got the Breaking Bad bite of like, well, they're all on Netflix. I'm
Yeah.
going to rewatch what I already watched and watch it because, people know I'm a notorious prequel hater, so it's just like, I know where this guy's going to eventually end up. I know Taylor always makes it's about the journey, but for me, it's like, it can be, but sometimes it's tough when you know a lot or at least you know the end point, right? Where that's
Yeah.
at least this was refreshing. You didn't know what exactly was going to happen to
Yeah,
Jesse.
no,
So.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say though. Like, I feel like if you're a fan of Breaking Bad, you probably don't necessarily have to see Better Call Saul because it is
Yeah.
a prequel. Whereas El Camino, it's kind of like you said, the epilogue of the story. So I definitely recommend it over Better Call Saul because I feel like it's just more tied to the story.
Yeah. That concludes your thoughts, or
Yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I'm not like itching to go see it again.
that's my question is I think you'd say yes, and this may transition to my review because if you watch the series again, do you feel like you have to watch this movie with it to feel complete now?
That's a good question. Because while I was watching this, I definitely was just, like you said, getting that itching for Breaking Bad, where I kind of wanted to go back and rewatch the show. So maybe if I got to the end and just, no, let's just see how. I don't know though, because right now I just watched it, so it's fresh in my mind. So I don't think I would have to.
Yeah.
What about you?
That's the thing. I liked it. I was quite disappointed because it just sucks when you have a TV show that's so good and it just there's a bar of quality. It just kind of reminds me of Infinity War and Endgame. Endgame, luckily they delivered, but they had just an unfair of like you got to be at least as good as Infinity War. And in my opinion, they did that, but it just that's what I kind of felt this was. With Better Call Saul, I don't think that because it's a prequel and it's about a lawyer, so I'd never had that in mind. I was like, okay, this is just if you want to be in that world more, this is another extension. With this, I didn't think it had to be on that quality, but I don't know if this was in the same ballpark. I don't think this is a bad movie. I don't think it's like, oh, it ruined the ending. I just don't know if, and I think I will just because it's kind of one of those. It's like I watch Amazing Spider-Man 1 and then I watch Amazing Spider-Man 2 because like that's the set, right? So if I ever watched them, we all do that. Harry Potter, well, I don't do that with the Hobbits, but Star Wars, like I watch the prequels because like they're part of the family, right? So I think if I ever rewatch this show again, which I will, I probably will put on El Camino, but I don't think it was like really necessary. I was quite surprised with that trailer. Felt very Logan-esque, and it felt like it was going to be a very emotional movie where the thing that disappointed me, and there's stuff that did in spoilers, so I can't say, but there's big chunks. I think they made some decisions, like I was saying to Kirklin. They just decided to go to certain places via the place or maybe flashbacks. I thought I didn't think this needed to be covered anymore. And two, it was just a lot more action-y than I thought it was going to be, and I didn't like that. It's a lot of Jesse Pinkman dealing with some other problems. There is kind of like a ticking clock element, but then I also think they don't do a great job of making you feel that he could be caught at any moment. I feel like they start that way. I'll keep it as non-spoiler as possible. They start that way, but that kind of he's always just like, oh, the police are after me. But I don't feel that, like, I almost think we needed a scene or two of some cop somewhere being like, we need to find Pinkman. Yeah. They feel like they're the cops in GTA, where if you just hide behind a dumpster, it's like, well, we couldn't find Nico Bellic. He's gone, you know? So I didn't feel that threat. And, I liked it, but I don't think it's the story. I don't think it's the story I necessarily wanted out of this, and I think the story they told was just fine, you know? So I kind of got burned both ways of like, I was expecting this, okay, if I didn't get this, it's still something great. I think it's just something good, and that's what sucks, because I don't think there's anything good about Breaking Bad. I think it's all great. I guess I didn't specify before. This is my favorite show of all time. I've rewatched it for this. I've watched it many times. It was tied with Dexter for a while, and then Dexter took a huge... Dexter's not even on the top 10 anymore. Whoa. But at one point, the only reason I watched this, because I doubted it, I was like, man... Malcolm in the Middle and some like drug movie, but the only reason I watched it is because I watched Mad Men on AMC, and I was just like, well, I'll check it out. It's on the station I like their content, and it came out, and I was that pilot. I think, as I know you're talking about Lost, I think as far as pilots, I won't say it's the greatest all the time, but if you make a top 5, it is one of the best pilots, because Breaking Bad pilot, you could easily just watch that, and it's like a 1 hour movie, the way the story tells, and that's why I love that. To me, it's the best pilot, and I've loved the show because I think every season it got better and better. All of them are great in it, but specifically Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston were great. Bryan Cranston especially because Jesse Pinkman grows a lot, but Bryan Cranston just like feels like every season he plays a different character because he's just getting more and more to the bad side. You know, like he's like Kotar. He's like one little decision. You're like, don't do this, Walt. But you get to see Jesse, and I think that's the other thing with this. I appreciate it because in the last few episodes of this series, it was really about Walt and him, and it makes sense. He was the main character. Jesse Pinkman was supposed to die in the first season of that show.
Oh, really?
He was supposed to die in the finale of season 1, but they liked him so much.
What happened in the finale? Just remind me.
Tuco, he's one of the drug dealers they deal with initially, and he kills one of his guards because they say something like out of turn. And he kills them in front of Jesse and Walter just to show, like, this could happen to you. But originally it was supposed to be Jesse that said something, and he would kill him right in front of Walt. And
holy.
Yeah, so, but they they liked Aaron Paul so much in the role that they kept him, and he got his own movie now. And he's great, and that's the thing I will say about this movie. His acting is fantastic. He just knows his character so well.
Yeah,
so
he lives and breathes it.
Yeah, it's almost like we've talked about this before with, like, the Margot Robbie, Hugh Jackman thing of, like, anytime Aaron Paul's on screen as Jesse Pinkman, I'll watch it because he's good at that. And I think after playing that character for over 6 years, he has an idea of who it is. So there's no bad acting in this, except for there's a couple antagonists I won't spoil. I didn't love their characters. I don't know if it was writing or the actors they choose because I think, or chose, sorry. I think all the villains in Breaking Bad always stand out, whether it's Jack or Gus or Tuco or even those twins. You know, they're always very unique. Where the villains in this are very like cookie cutter. They feel very like GTA side mission. And the best way I'd say describe this movie is for video game fans. It is like epilogue, but it's kind of like when you finish a video game's main story and you've been doing hours and hours, and then once you're done, there's other things to do in the world, but it just kind of feels empty, right? You're like, yeah, I'll go finish this side objective. Yeah, I'll update my car. I'll get this achievement or trophy. But once that main story is done, you're just like, you feel like it's completed, and you just kind of have to find something to do because you've spent $8,200 on this game. And that's what I felt like this movie was. It just felt like they had to find something to do. I think you should watch it, obviously, if you're a Breaking Bad fan, but I was quite disappointed in it. Not the fact that it's a bad movie. It's just not the quality I was kind of hoping.
Your expectations were really high.
And it's tough. It's been a long time for the show, and I always thought that was a great idea for the movie of, what did happen to Jesse Pinkman, but I feel we didn't learn anything that we wouldn't already have known, which I'll wait until spoilers, but I just think I think they kind of missed a chance with this movie to maybe go into some other routes, and sometimes I think it felt too much like you remember Breaking Bad, how good it was? And it's like, yeah, I do. I just watched it, and the whole world does, because people still talk about Breaking Bad. So, yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but I don't know. I think it's definitely one I'll have to sit with, too, and see in a couple of years if I watch the series again and watch this, will it feel like, a bit better? But I think there's some problems I have that will never be fixed by it. So.
Yeah, that's fair. There's definitely, you quickly mentioned just a few flashback stuff that I didn't think were necessary.
No, very long, too.
They were. And
that's where sometimes it feels like this movie is like episodes he wanted to do in the last season of Breaking Bad, but they didn't have time. Mm-hmm. So he it's like director's cut of like, well, we have some extra scenes. Here's the director's cut of the finale. But really it just feels like, you guys either didn't have the budget or it didn't flow in that season. So it's like, let's talk about things that happen in those later seasons, which we'll wait till spoilers.
Definitely had those feels to it.
Yeah.
Let's see what else I had. I'll check the notes real quick for any non-spoilers. Mm-hmm. Trying to avoid some dead air here.
Let us know if you like the movie in the comments below. Please subscribe. If you like what we're doing, head over to podcasts or Apple Podcasts and review it. A written review helps. We're trying to get to 200. We're getting close, so that helped us quite a bit.
Yeah, there just a couple notes things that are non-spoiler. There's just a few weird decisions that they went with that didn't really make sense to me, but they're very minor, kind of okay. I don't know what the correct term would be here, but there's one scene where he's looking for something and he's using a Bic lighter, and he just instead of just letting go of the gas, which is what you do on a Bic lighter, he blows it out just to try and get a dramatic effect. And there's just a few things like that just didn't make sense, but I feel like they're going for it to get some dramatic effect for. And it kind of made me chuckle and this is kind of shitty in that sort of way. Very minor, but figured I'd bring it up. And then there's some characters I want to talk about, but we can save that for spoilers.
All right, we're gonna jump into spoilers. I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1. Kirklin's gonna say Geek versus Assemble for just the two of us that are here, and this is your last chance. So 3, 2, 1.
Geek versus Assemble.
So I want to talk about the flashbacks first.
Yes,
because for me that was my tweet when I was like, oh shit, because you haven't watched It Chapter 2 because you hate clowns, but
I've seen it now.
You saw
this is kind of like a Geek versus News story right here. Yeah, I watched it with my dad.
How was it?
It was not as scary as I was expecting. Honestly,
Did you like the movie?
I did. I thought it was top quality, but it was just not what I had heard from other people. This is a mini It review inside of an El Camino review.
Built that up though because you're afraid of clowns. So
absolutely.
Probably anybody, if they said it's scary, you're like, it's the scariest thing in the world.
When did it cut? 2017. So 2 years of just thinking of what's in this movie, and I finally watched it, and it was good. Mm-hmm. But
So what they do is, speaking about it makes sense, trust me. So in It, obviously it's about the kids, they're fighting this clown. Then It 2, it's about them as adults, and they gotta go back and fight the clown. One of my biggest negatives, and a mini spoiler for It, but it's not that huge, is they do a lot of flashbacks to the kids again in It Chapter 2. And to me, the way the book's laid out, and even the miniseries, it's kind of you have the kid portion and then you have the adults, but they kind of splice them together because I think they thought the kids were so popular and they wanted them in there. Maybe they chose just to write it for the story. If so, then I'm not a fan of that. But it was one of those where it just felt like, we didn't learn anything and the kids were in here just for the sake of, oh, the kids are back and you loved them in the first one. That's what a lot of these flashbacks felt like. I think the Jane one was fine because it was so quick. The Walter one was fine because I love having Bryan Cranston back, even though I was very mad he did not shave his head and he was wearing a bald cap, and it was
so noticeable.
It was, and that's my problem, and that's the other thing when you go into the Todd ones. This is not to body shame at all. It's just like he's aged and looks a lot different, and he has put on a little bit more weight than when he was Todd. So at first, when they're shooting him through the bars, I was like, oh, they're doing this because they just don't want to show because, like, a normal person, he's aged. But then after, especially because it's not like Bryan Cranston, who has aged, but the thing is he's an older man, so you don't notice that as much. Jesse Plemons was a young dude when they filmed Breaking Bad, and then this, so it's like there's a flashback where it's supposed to be like in the same time frame, and he looks completely different. So it took me out of it. The same way in It Chapter 2, they do like the kids got old, so they had to de-age the kids in the movie, and it does not look good. They look plastic, so that took me out of it. And then I should have timed it, but I feel like the flashback is at least 15 to 20 minutes, and I like seeing Todd again, but I don't think the only thing we learned is where he kept his money, right? So we could get that plot point, but I don't think it needed to be that long.
No,
and
absolutely.
That's what I hate when I look to the runtime. Like, we only got 2 hours, and we spend so much time with Todd. It's like, I get it. This guy's dead. Jesse hates him. It just felt like stuff, and that's the same thing with Mike. I liked that flashback, but the whole telling him like, don't go with Walt. Do whatever you want to do, and you can't, make up for, like, when he's like, I'm gonna make things right, and he's like, well, that's not an option. I just felt like lots of flashbacks were themes of things we already had resolved in the show. So I don't know if it was they just needed that for the movie, or it was the like, you love Todd, you love Mike, you love Walt, and they just really, the Todd ones really didn't work for me.
No, not at all. No. I just hated that character in the show itself. So bringing him back, he doesn't look anything like he's just so much thicker.
He is, and he's like a supporting character in this movie with his screen time.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I really didn't like that one. I felt like that was the longest out of all of them, really. The Walter one I really liked, just because it was bringing me back to like the breaking. And when they're just like sitting in the diner, like the original RVs out there with like the gunshot holes, and it's just like, probably because I haven't seen the show in a while, it's just like taking me back to that nostalgia feeling of just like, oh man, this show is so good. So that's probably why that worked so well for me.
And it was not long. It was just the right amount of time, where Todd's was just slow. Because I remember at one point they cut away from Todd's. I'm like, oh good, it's done. And then it came back and they're just like eating a can of beans together. I'm like, we don't need this. We don't just like make some quick. And then I thought it was done. And then you have to go and bury that girl's body. And this is the problem. But sorry, I'm cutting you off. I just know I'm going to forget. When there's that moment of Jesse, like, I get what they do with the fake cops later, but he takes the gun and he's like, is he going to shoot Todd? We know he's not going to shoot Todd, because Todd, like, he kills Todd later on. That's my problem with prequels, is the tension in that scene is gone, because it's just like, we know nothing's going to happen here. And that's the thing that helped in Breaking Bad, was it always is a show that had so much tension. But when it's a prequel to these characters that we know their fate, there's no tension in this gun standoff. We know what's going to go down.
Exactly. So, I'm glad you brought that up, because I wouldn't have mentioned it.
Yeah, I almost forgot about it. That's why I was like, I need to butt in right here and be rude.
I was so just triggered with that scene, because they were putting so much emphasis on like, oh, what's Jesse going to do? Like, this is like a character building moment sort of, but it's like, we already know what he's going to do. It's like, you're kind of like taking away from the character and making him weaker by showing this, because before we never saw him have this near stand down with Todd. So I don't know, just for me, I kind of took away from like Jesse as a character, because I'm just like, you're so weak here, and I know you're not going to do it. So, and
they also made him a bit more dumb too, because the point in the show is when he tries to escape the first time, that's when they kill Andrea, and then, or Andrea, I don't even know how you say the name, however you say it, his girlfriend, or like his like on again girlfriend, and then they kill her, and they're like, don't forget about the boy. So to me, that was Jesse would have been smart enough to be like, okay, I officially can't do anything now till, like, luckily Walt comes and saves him. So for him to even take that gun, what happens if Todd goes back and he's like, oh yeah, he pulled a gun on me, and then they kill the kid? So it's just like, I thought in the show that was a full-on, it was dumb for him to try and escape, but he finally gets of like, if you screw up again, we're going to kill this kid. And that's why the next time we see him with Walt, he has long hair, he looks dirty, because clearly that's what I hate about prequels. In my head, he did not try to escape anymore. Or he didn't try to escape in this, but he thought about shooting Todd, and clearly he would try to run away. And that's, in my head, I was like, well, he screwed up once. He lost this girl he really liked. He's not going to do it again because he's smart enough to know these people aren't messing around. But in this show, it shows, he was like, at one point, I get he's an emotional character. I get it, but it's just not needed. I don't think it doesn't add anything. Think it was needed. Like unless Todd was secret, he survived the strangling and it was him again. But it's not. He's a ghost.
Yeah.
Prequels, man. I hate prequels. I really do.
Flashbacks. That's what we were on. So the Walter one I liked. I definitely noticed it was just a bald cap. That was so noticeable. It looked like it was bulging.
I don't know why they didn't put the hat on him.
Yeah, that would have been so easy.
And I get it because probably he's in the restaurant and look a little weird, but it also looked weird that when he was talking, his whole forehead would be like doing this, and then like his other head wasn't moving, and it looked a lot bigger too. And and that just I think that just bugs me nowadays because we've just seen, and I get it because we're spoiled by like de aging stuff, but we've seen flashback stuff done so well that when it's not done good, you're like. It stands out in movies from I'd say like 90s and before. You give it a pass because it's just like, oh yeah, I just want to see Jack Nicholson be this young person in this movie again. I'll look past it. But now when we've seen all this stuff, and I know Netflix has money, it's just like, and even then, I'm sure he was shooting something, but like. Wait till Bryan Cranston can shave his fucking head again. And if they are like, we can't do that because people will know. I don't care. It took me out of it sometimes. I like when they shot just his face because I could ignore it, but he just looked like kind of Megamind at times.
Absolutely.
It was just it was annoying, and that usually doesn't happen in Breaking Bad. They're usually like really crisp with what they do. And
see, like little stuff like that, I feel like that's also what kind of took away from like the feel of what Breaking Bad was, because like you mentioned, they just had all those details down. It looked so like. I don't know, just so real and like just genuine. Whereas this one, it had like a higher quality like filming wise, but there's just stuff like that. And then like you throw that on top of just like the little like arc I had with the Bic. It's just like why? Like what's the point of that? Like you're trying to put so much, I don't know, unnecessary detail on this stuff. It's just like I was a little grouchy with those little things just adding up. Let's see, the Jane flashback I really liked. I know we're still in flashbacks. Just I really liked that character while she was in the show, and like the impact that she had on Jesse. I really liked that whole transition. So it was cool seeing her back. And I'm probably forgetting some other ones.
You had the Mike one. I think that was about it. And then you had another Todd one, which we'll talk about probably when we get to the villain of this movie. But the Mike one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Mike one. I liked it. Mike was like a solid character for me. I liked him enough, and I don't know. It wasn't one of those things that kind of took away or like gave unnecessary tension, like what we were talking about with the whole Todd stuff. It was just like kind of quick and easy. He was talking about Alaska a little bit, which spoilers.
And I wish they didn't do that though, because I just felt like I knew like
where he was going at the end.
Yeah, he's going to have in Alaska. And that's when we were talking about the ending and where I was talking with non-spoilers. I didn't want to be too specific. And I have, like, the imagery is fun. Like, the last thing we see Jesse in the show is him in the car driving away, and he's all, like, you know, crazy, and he's beaten and battered. And this one, it's like, oh, look how happy he is. He's going to have a new life. But for me, I think the only, like, when I heard the show, I literally thought it would be kind of like when he gets to Alaska, what's not next. I wasn't expecting he's running away from the cops and this. I was expecting, like, what does he do? He's clearly going to be a character. I like the stuff when he was showering and then, like, he had those, like, PTSD moments. I like that, but I was just like, him dating or him getting a job. That's honestly what I want, because some of the Breaking Bad stuff that's good is just the character stuff, not, like, the drug dealing. And that's where I wish it was after Alaska, because I felt like the only thing this movie did was we were like, what happened to Jesse? This just confirmed, oh, yeah, he definitely got away safe. And it's like, to me, I was always like, but still, what's after that? But this was just the... oh, were you wondering if he got away safely? Yeah, he did. He's fine. And it's like, I kind of had, in my headcanon, again, in Breaking Bad when I saw the finale, I didn't think he was going to escape, and then right away, like 10 minutes later, the cops would shoot him down. I took that as like, clearly he's going to go and have a happy life now, or do something. So I wanted to see what that life would be, but the movie was just more about the getaway, and which is fine, but I didn't think they did that particularly well. So
yeah, that is an interesting like look on it, because because I don't know. I don't really know what to expect, and this movie definitely is kind of like an escape. Like, you know, like he's still
ticking clock.
We were talking about earlier though, because it's like, he's escaping and doesn't want to get caught, but like there's never really a sense of like, oh, he's gonna get caught.
Like even the guys, and I get they make this point, but when they have like the fake police DA, right? And I'll talk about them in a second. But so they do this whole thing where he shows them the money, and it's the guy who's the candy welding guy who gets a flashback with, and they're like, I'm taking my half. He's like, you take a third. even that scenario just feels like they just and Jesse says you can't shoot me because you'll alert people, but even then it's just like, couldn't they just like fucking knock him out and take his, like, it felt very, they're like, yeah, I guess you can take your money and yeah, we'll let you go. We're never gonna, like, not even gonna worry about he might come back. He might, like, obviously wouldn't go to the cops, but I feel like even when he walks in later on to get his money again, there's no like sense of urgency. These guys are just sitting back. And then I don't know how you felt about this. I hated the Western standoff because to me that does not feel like Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad to me feels like the show that would do that, and then something else happens, and it kind of does because Jesse cheats, so they have like a fun like, look what we did here. But I just felt it was kind of lazy, and I didn't feel this guy that has I think they kind of, so what, there's a millionaire, they split three ways, so they have over $300,000, right? I didn't buy he'd be like, I'm gonna shoot you or you shoot me and then we take them. I didn't buy that at all, so I didn't like a lot of that stuff that happened.
I thought that was really cheesy and kind of over the top, but like at the same time he was all coked up and like
that's
on
how I wrote it off too. Yeah, I hope. Yeah.
So I kind of had it there where he was just not thinking straight. So it's one of those things you either hate it or you just write it off like that. So yeah, but overall I wasn't the biggest fan of the whole Western shootout. I was like, okay, we're going this route here, and I knew he had the two guns, so I knew he was gonna either go his little sidekick there, I forget his name, but he was kind of eyeing up a gun, so I thought maybe he was gonna try and, I don't know, back up his buddy, because I don't know, I feel like stuff like that is a little bit more Breaking Bad-esque, where you think it's going to go one way, and then obviously there's just cheaters everywhere. So just guns are shooting. But
like when they were revealed not to be cops, I thought that was very Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is fun. They're not DEA. They're there for, because the second he grabbed the extension cord to tie him up, like, Jesse, you go like, why is he using this? And then that was very smart and fun, well done. And even the thing with the tall, like, ripping part of the house, I liked where he put the money, and that was fun. So there's like some fun, smart moments, but I just thought a lot of the stuff with those characters weren't that well thought out, and it just felt like, again, the video game comparison, you've defeated all the main boss, and then it's like when you end the game with some shitty side quest, you're like, oh, this is the last time I play this game. And it's like, this mission was really easy, and that's what this felt like. It's like, Gus is dead, Walter's dead, Lydia's dead, Jack and his gang are dead, Todd's dead. Who do we have? Oh, this guy who was like a welding company for Jack that we've never met before. Okay, I guess he was there. Like, and that's the only Todd flashback I think was really warranted. You could have done a little one with the money, but maybe just do the one where this guy's there when he's like doing the like run back and forth to set up, oh, he kind of dislikes him. But I didn't think obviously I said that with the top flashbacks, but I think those were the only two needed, and you know, it was fine, they put it in, but I just didn't like the characters as well. I didn't feel they were scary. I didn't feel they were I don't know what they're going for, but they didn't leave a lasting impact on me. I was just kind of annoyed when they're on screen.
Yeah, because at first you just think they're cops, so they're kind of the enemy to Jesse there, and then it definitely was a fun little mind twist, especially when was his name Candy, or is that just his company?
Maybe
the main welder
I can
guy.
Find out.
Forget his name, but he's basically saying like, "There's cops downstairs. Like, what do you think's gonna happen if you shoot?" So like all those mind games, that was really fun, and then ended up kind of winning the bluff there. They start tying up Jesse, and it's like, holy crap, these guys aren't cops. So that was really a fun like reveal there, but after that, like you said, where they could have just knocked him out or anything. Like, there's so many workarounds they could have done.
The second they get the money, just retie him up. Like, why? Like, it felt like they let him go just because the plot was like, we need Jesse to be let go. I was like, all right, I guess. You know,
so, like, at first, those characters kind of seemed a little bit smarter. You know, like, they're dressed up as cops. They're playing mind games with Jesse a little bit. But as soon as they, like, see the money, they just go full stupid.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah, and then like the little neighbor guy, I thought he was kind of funny.
I loved Lou. I could take a whole. Oh, the guy's name, the actor is Scott MacArthur, but he played. Come on, don't go to the top list. Hang on here. Neil apparently was the guy's name.
Okay,
I didn't catch that. So
okay.
Yeah, I loved Lou. I could take I wouldn't want it, but I'm joking. But still, I'd take a spin-off series of Lou, just like a mini series, 6 episodes of like, what he's been doing in Albuquerque, and just like that Todd guy, I know him real well. Never trusted him, and he just like, I have this note that his thumbprints on there. You might want to see it. I think it could be big the case. I've investigated before myself, and they just closed the door on him. Yeah, I liked Lou a lot.
Yeah, just a good nosy neighbor. I feel like we've all kind of encountered those people before.
Yeah. And the only other thing I want to say about that scene, I really liked when, and not because of the Todd thing, I just liked the standoff and when Jesse's like breaking down crying because he thinks it's it for him. They tried to make the parallel of like Todd taking the gun, him putting down the gun. I think you could have just still had him upset of the fact that I got away and I'm getting caught again. So I just thought he really acted the scene well, but after that, I wasn't the biggest fan. And then he goes, the other thing, because I want to shout out, it's a sad weekend, but Robert Forster, who plays the vacuum guy, he passed away last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when the time we recorded
Jeez.
this. Yeah, so sucks. And it's fun. We just last months ago we did the Tarantino retro, and he was on there. And I love Robert Forster because even if you see, this is the best thing. This is such a minor role that could be nobody, but he's such a good actor. He makes him a fun character. He was fun in Breaking Bad, but he's only in there mildly. But even just, I love like when the cops show up. He's like, I think he had a tattoo over his eye, an insect, a rather large insect. Yeah. And it's just like the way he talked and that standoff. I think that was probably my favorite stuff. I'm not saying this because he just passed. That little standoff they had in the vacuum thing of just they're trying to like out bluff each other, and then when he calls the cops, just like, you didn't call the cops, and then he's just like, I love that response time. They full like, and even then I love that when he's running, he's just like, grab your money, and I love that type of the character they gave him is like. He's this criminal, but he only he has a line as far as like he's not gonna get caught. He'll sell you out, but he doesn't. He's still like a criminal by heart because he doesn't give the right description. Like I just loved that. I did love that callback to Breaking Bad to bringing him back because it makes sense. He booted Saul off. He booted Walter off. But I think it made sense. It worked, and I just liked that set piece there in the middle.
Yeah, no, I really liked his whole role, because just talk about like the acting wise, like he brought like even when he was just talking to that old lady, like when Jesse first gets in, like he just seems like a vacuum salesman.
Oh yeah.
So like warm and just welcoming in his tone and everything. And then when Jesse's like, I'm like 96% sure you're the guy.
I love that he said 96% because I was trying to think in my mind, like, what is that 4% why he doesn't think that? So that was a great line.
So I loved all that. And just like giving shouts out to Aaron Paul, that like just encompassing that role of Jesse Pinkman, because when he kind of like shaves his head and he's kind of talking to Skinny Pete and Badger, and he just kind of seems like a different Jesse than what we've seen, like especially in like the earlier seasons. He's just
been through some shit.
Oh, absolutely. And he definitely seems like that. You kind of see him wigging out, like a little PTSD, getting flashbacks and stuff. But like when he's in that moment of like in the vacuum store and he's like telling all these things, like the operator would have called you back, blah blah blah, and just like the way he was talking there, I'm like, this just feels like early Jesse Pinkman. And it's just I loved seeing that. It was great. Like I didn't give enough emphasis on his acting wise. He did such a good job in that role, and like you already mentioned, he just, after doing it for 6 years, you kind of encompass it. Just, I don't know, it's easy to pick up. And but just getting back to, what was his name again? Sorry,
Robert Forster.
Robert Forster. Watching this, and since we just recently watched Jackie Brown not too long ago, I totally forgot that it was that actor that was in Breaking Bad like prior. So it was definitely fun getting him back there. And then when he does that switch of like, like this is past due money, blah blah blah, and then Jesse knows that it's actually him. Like that was just so good, and the way that he kind of changed, like the way he was talking to be a little more sly and like kind of gangster like, right?
When he drops that line, he's just like, you owe me this money, but I'm not gonna collect this debt because I don't think it'll go good for either you or me. And it's just like, he's a guy, you can tell that he deals with flight risks all the time, and he, speaking of Jesse doing the 96%, he like calculates like his every move, what he's gonna do. Like, should I help this guy? No, I shouldn't. Should I take his money though, even though he owes me? No, I shouldn't, because this might not go poorly. And like, I honestly did think Jesse was right that he didn't call the cops, but he did. So like, and that shows that like, he could get sold out, but it's like Jesse's just this enigma, like with the cops that are on him, which I said again, I don't think they did a good job of stressing how much heat he had on him. But in the World War thing, like he has a lot of heat on him. It's like he's still a bigger risk than the cops potentially come to the shop, and him saying, and even then, are they going to believe this former drug addict guy who's been in a cage? Like, I like the line when he's like, I don't even know what month it is, you know? So are they really going to believe him? And I think that guy kind of thinks it out like, no, they won't. So I'll call the cops and risk it, and I think I'll make it out okay. So yeah. So
he was great. It was awesome seeing him in there. And rest in peace to him. That's sad news.
Yeah, big show, because that's the thing. Like, he's like, other than Jackie Brown, I think he's kind of always been like a character actor, but it shows that can be important, because in this movie, I think this is one of, if not my favorite part of the movie. And if he sucks, then like I would enjoy those villain things a lot better if I really thought those actors. I don't think they were bad. I just nothing memorable, nothing that stands out. And that's all it takes is a great performance. So yeah, big shout out to him. That's a bad that's bad timing all around. Well, there's actually no good time to die unless you're I don't know, unless you've been unless you've been pegged under a dead bear for years and you're in a lot of pain. You're like, man, I'd really like to die. That's the only scenario.
Yeah, be a good day to die.
Yeah, I come across it all the time in Red Dead, and let's see, where do you want to go to next?
So what do we talk about? The flashbacks.
We talk about flashback to the villains. We talk about the Western standoff.
Oh yeah.
I guess the only thing I was able to say, because we're still on Robert Forster, I liked the actual, like, it's not a goodbye, but I liked his send off, and I like that we see the last thing he does is give him a note to give to Brock and everything like that. So that's gonna be one situation for that kid to grow up with, that this fucking junkie is responsible for like his life pretty much being terrible, because his brother died that way and then his mother. So that sucks. But I don't know if I have too much more to add, to be honest, because it's a very basic movie. But
absolutely. Yeah. I was gonna mention like Skinny Pete and Honey Badger.
Yeah.
Honey Badger.
Honey Badger. Yeah, that's what he's known.
Honey Badger.
That's in his night job. Honey Badger. Yeah, I liked them, but that was my problem with the trailers. I thought we were gonna get more of Jesse with them and more and they did show concern. I just thought it'd be a bit more of a slower burn of like, just some empathy. They all showed what I'm saying, but I just thought it was gonna be. You were going to sit with it where it was moving really quick. And that's where, at first, I was like, okay, we're moving quick because he's going to be on this clock. But like I said, I didn't feel, once he left, I didn't feel people were really after him. So, but I like seeing those guys back. They did a good job.
Definitely. I agree with you. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more like the homies are back together. Like, we'll see how, I don't know, they kind of get through this together. But it was mostly just Skinny Pete kind of got the idea of just splitting them all up, and then like this is setting up for like the big chase that's kind of building like a lot of pressure for the cops trying to get Jesse, but it didn't really translate to that like throughout the movie. It just didn't seem like the biggest I don't know, like red alert on Jesse. It didn't seem like the cops were right on his heels, like the dogs were behind him. But I don't know, it was weird because it seemed like that's what they're setting up for, but it just didn't come to fruition there. I don't know. It just made me wondering, like, just going back to like the first hour of the movie, it just felt weird for what it was trying to go with.
I think the problem with the whole movie is, and like I said, I still think it's like a fine, good movie. I think it's just when Breaking Bad had such a perfect finale and they said they're making this movie, I feel like when you look at the story we've got now, I go, and hey, maybe this is the creator felt this way, but I go, I don't know if he needed to do this movie, right? Like, I don't think I already said this. I think it was a little unnecessary. I think if there's a great story, there's times where that happens. You go, it's perfect. And then they do another one, like, oh, I understand. I don't think Toy Story 4 is a perfect movie, but the way they ended, I thought, oh, I understood why they did another one. This was, like I said, I felt that after seeing the story we got, I'm surprised he wrote this down or had a dream and just said, I need to tell this story. Because I was just kind of surprised by some of the choices. I didn't feel like that, in my opinion, and maybe it just didn't turn out the way he thought, and maybe it did. I don't know, but for me, it just as a massive Breaking Bad fan, and I think that season, I think just in all medium, like from season to season, is one of the best told stories ever. Yeah, where you talk about like MCU and they're planning, like they have that type of element too, where it's just like little characters always come back and it always ties. It's just, to me, it's literally a perfect show. So that's the tough thing too. But I don't know what about the story felt like we needed to tell. It's fun seeing it, and it's good seeing Aaron Paul back. But
yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you on that part, because like you said, it's hard to top like a perfect show, right? And then put some icing on top of it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I saw it. It was, like I said before, I was okay with the ending of Jesse's tale. I probably would have wanted more. You kind of got me excited, the idea of what it'd be like him now in Alaska, because like if he's living in a cage for months, like it's not like he's just like clear of that in his mind, right? Like he's definitely gonna have some demons still with him. So I don't know. Maybe we'll never know. And
I feel like, and not the way he like start cooking meth again. I feel like just Jesse Pinkman is a character that for some reason always attracts danger or something like that. So I feel like in his new life, he would even just see some sort of drug deal going down. He might not get involved, but just be like, just watching it from afar, just to see, like, I want to know, like I said, what he is doing in his day-to-day life. He's the guy that hated doing work, so that's why he started doing meth. So it's like, what's his job now? You know, like, how does he deal with that? How does he deal with, obviously he still has lots of money, but still it's like he doesn't have the same amount he used to have, I imagine, because he spent, Well, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll never know how much Neil spent on all that cocaine and whatnot because he only need 1,800, but he got his whole share, right? So I'm sure he at least maybe has like $100,000. So hopefully you can make that last the rest of your life. But I think he'd still eventually need to get a job. You know, he from how young he is to, let's say if he made 80, he'd have to get some sort of job because I don't think you live off 100,000, whether it be buying a house, food, all that stuff. He needs some sort of work.
I wonder what the quality of living is. Like the price of that is at in Alaska.
True. Maybe it's just like $1.05 and you get 10 acres of land.
Yeah.
You know? So I never been, and I don't think I plan to because that looked pretty cold. So
yeah.
I like the turtleneck he was rocking though.
Oh yeah,
nice.
He looked cozy.
Yeah, he did.
He had like a heater in his little compartment in the truck.
Yeah.
That'd
Also, it could be a terrible way to die if he crashes and no one knows you're in there, so you're just stuck in there, no air, it's getting heated. Not great.
Oof, yeah.
Anything else on this?
Again, let's check the old notes.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot his name, so I just wrote down the guy from Jackie Brown.
Yeah. I don't actually remember. I don't even know if they give him a name in this show, to be honest.
No,
they
he's
call him,
just
like,
the guy. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't remember for the life of me, so I'm happy that he doesn't actually have a name.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy you don't get a character name.
Oh, the Ruger, the little 22 that he had. For some reason, I just loved seeing that gun. It just, in my mind, I didn't think it was gonna work. I thought he was gonna come down to like try and use it, and it just like jams or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize it was like a 22. It was kind of funny though that Neo was kind of just laughing at him for it, and then he kind of had like the regular gun hidden in his pocket.
2 Easter eggs I don't want to forget was one, they showed what happened to El Polo's logos. It's like called Twisters now.
Oh.
It's like a rebrand. At the very first like 2 minutes, they're showing like just the city and the same location. Yeah, so that got shut down for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And then Todd had that. Well, they did 2 things with Lydia. She was on the news talking about like how she was poisoned and everything like that. And then they also had Todd had a snow globe of her in the snow globe.
Yeah.
And that was strange. And also he kept the tarantula, which classic Todd. I will say, like, I sound negative, but I think they still did good things with that character. Like, they still had the essence of it. I just don't think it was needed. But the Todd character I love as far as, like, he's just this psychopath, but he doesn't even know it. He's just such a creepy guy, but he just thinks he's normal. Like, when he's singing, driving there, and then Jesse's in the back with the dead body, she's like, that's Todd right there.
Oh, yeah.
Just the way he's just like, you want to get some pizza? Like, pepperoni, I love, so it's just, he just can't, like, he's clearly mentally ill where he can't coincide something so bad in like the moment, it's just always a regular day for him, so.
Yeah, it's weird because sometimes in movies or TV shows, there'll be a character like that who's just so psychotic. For some reason, I just love them. They're just, I'm thinking of like No Country for Old Men, like that type of just psychopath. It's just, I want to see more of him. But Todd, I just hated throughout the movie. And I feel like you either hate him or you love him. I just hated him. So getting like so much screen time in those flashbacks, I just couldn't stand it. But
Robert Forster's name actually was Ed, so I think he had a name. I'd never heard it, but there you go. Any other notes?
No other notes.
I've said everything I think I need to say as far as recommendation, how I felt. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 because I was caught between a 6 and a 7, so naturally that would make sense. So I think it just wasn't great enough and rewatchable enough for me. I always give a 7 as like movies that I know aren't great, but I for some reason are gonna want to rewatch it. And then I don't think it's as low as a 6, so that's why I gave it a 6.5. I think it's still passed. As far as like my entertainment value or my expectations, I probably I wouldn't fail it, but it would be a 5 or like a 4.9. That's not the score of the movie, but just kind of how it impacted me. I was like, well, not really what I was wanting. I just kind of felt empty, and not in the way when you watch like you haven't watched Joker yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
When you watch some sort of bad movies and you feel empty after, like, wow, that was experience. This just felt empty of like, it just felt like a lot was left on the board still. And even then, either that was, or maybe they just they overstayed their welcome. Either way, it's a fine film, but didn't exactly work for me. So 6.5. You get a pass. Yeah, like it's a C+, but I think that's pretty, for me, bad when I think most of Breaking Bad's all A or A pluses or S's, S tier, S plus, all that.
Yeah. Going into the movie, I really didn't have like expectations because I wasn't watching the show. It wasn't fresh in my mind. I just knew the quality of the show, and I knew that Jesse was kind of on the run and tripping balls. So I think that's all like the expectations I kind of had going into it. So yeah, overall, I don't want to copy you and go 6.5, but I was kind of same thing, like in between a 6 and a 7, because I would definitely recommend it to people that are fans of the show and just, I don't know, they're itching for more. It's out there. It's on Netflix, so it's nice you didn't have to go to the theater to see it.
You can give it a 6.6 or something,
6.6.
Not caught me exactly.
I'll
6.9.
I'll go. Hey, 6.9. What a great number that is. So I'll give it a 6.9.
6.9. There you go. Not a 7, but yeah.
Yeah. There's just a lot of dragged on flashbacks and stuff, and then maybe if I didn't hear like your expectations for it of like a Logan-esque movie of kind of figuring out what's going on with him in Alaska and just not being able to trust people or just being surrounded by crime and all that stuff.
Or like what happens if like, and I hate trying to do this, but what happens in that movie in Alaska, not that they would watch the Albuquerque news, but I imagine that's a huge drug ring, right? And it's like Heisenberg was a part of that. They make it seem like who knows out of New Mexico, but they make it seem like at least in New Mexico, this is a huge deal. He's run this whole thing. So it's like, and these are the Blue Met though ended up going to other countries and whatnot. So you are the associate that's alive. What if there's somebody in Alaska that recognizes him for what if there's like a Lou-like character that loves the news, watch all this, or he's big in this, who knows, or maybe I don't know, he has some experience in a different country. I don't know what the thing be, but just that could be the thing of him noticing Jesse. And I don't think Jesse needs to go kill him or her, just like the idea of that person approaches him, or maybe that person's like, I want money. It's like, I don't know, I just think there's I think when I heard about we're doing a Jesse Pinkman movie, I thought there was interesting stuff. I don't think that's what they covered, and, but
there you go, Vince. You got your next movie right there.
Yeah, that's what they should do. Someone recognizes him and just like, what does he do? And maybe his life's good. He's getting married. He has kids, and someone's just like, you're that guy who like worked with Heisenberg and all that stuff. But no, that we didn't get that.
Just for all the things that he went through, I feel like it wouldn't just. He goes to Alaska and he's clear of he's cleansed of all his sins. Like I feel like that just weighs on you for your life, especially like seeing Brock's mom. I forget her name. Killed. Andrea killed right in front of him. It's just heavy stuff there. So
maybe we'll get another movie in a few years.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, if it happens, maybe we'll be here. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows how long they take? But hope you enjoy that review. Anything else to say?
Not at all. It was fun doing another solo review with the likes of you.
When was the last time I know we did that Spider-Man cast, but then we also did Triple Frontier. It's the
Triple
Netflix
Frontier,
stuff.
yeah.
Very action. Go check out our Triple Frontier review. Very similar to this movie where like I think the reverse like started good and they got more like we're doing this, all right.
That was a fun review though.
Yeah. No Western stands off in that one, so that's good. So
no matter what, if the movie's good or bad, the reviews will be fun.
I guarantee you, people listening to this have probably already forgotten what Triple Frontier was. Like I guarantee you, like that Ben Affleck like. Who else was in that movie?
Pedro Pascal.
Who was the other, like the second lead? Oscar Isaac.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac, yeah. It had a great cast.
It did. So check out that and then check out our reviews. So check out everything else we have going on. Go to the links down below. I should have promoted at the beginning. I did with Extra Life, but Extra Life is coming up November 2nd. Join us for that stream because that's 24 hours. But also, please come donate. We're trying to raise $1,500. If we do that, Dylan will shave his head live on air. But it also goes towards BC Children's Hospital. It's tax deductible. We already got $100 donation, so that's great. So
that's awesome.
If you think about it this way, we for sure, I know this for a fact because I check the stats every day, we for sure have over 150 listeners. We're in like the thousands. So if 150 of you gave $10, we hit our goal.
That's
so
awesome.
It's pretty simple when you break it down. So we ask you to help. And if you can't, I understand times can be tough. Just spread the link. Obviously, come watch because jump in the chat, whether it be Twitch or YouTube. We have a fun time talking and congressing with our fans. I don't know why I use the word conversating, but it would be appreciated if you watch, but also just share it because sometimes we've had that before where you can't donate, but maybe someone else can, and that's for a good cause. So it's for the kids,
Absolutely.
It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna take that sports style from Kirklin Patzer.
Double belts coming in.
Could be. I realize too, if you defend it, you're going to break the record because you, me, Taylor are all tied for longest reigning sports champion.
Ooh. So, history will be made no matter what.
And we are talking about this on the After 9. You actually, we'll see if Kirkland pulls his card when he loses the title. He has no way to complain because it is a three-way, but all the games, we can't, like, it's like bowling and golf and like Tony Hawk. We can't, like, interfere with it. So, like, it's just like another one-on-one match for you. But, so, yeah, that's going to be lots of fun. We're going to have a really good time. So thank you very much for tuning in. And hear from next time. I'll not be boring.
Bye-bye.